Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Dibes, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Today, we're breaking down every single draft pick and trade here by the Philadelphia Eagles. If you guys love the draft and the birds, give this video a like, subscribe for more Eagles content. Let's get started. With the 13th selection in the NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Jordan Davis. Here's a little bit to know about Jordan Davis. He won the Chuck Bednarik Award last season, given to the best defensive player in college football. He also won the Outland Trophy for the best interior lineman. He was an unanimous All-American selection and a force for his national championship team at Georgia. While he's not an excellent pass rusher, he is dominant against the run, having an 85.9 run defense grade over the last two seasons. That was number one in the SEC. This is also one of the fastest 340-pound linemen ever. Davis showcased his tremendous speed at the NFL Combine, running a 4.78 40-yard dash time for a player that weighs 341 pounds. That's the fastest 40 time for a player listed at 340 pounds or more since 2000, beating Dontari Poe's time of 4.89. Davis and Poe are the only two players over 340 pounds to run sub 5-second 40 times. Unbelievable. Also, Jordan Davis will have a familiar face in Philadelphia with defensive line coach and former Auburn legend Tracy Rocker. Jordan Davis was recruited out of high school by current Eagles defensive line coach Tracy Rocker, who had the same title with Georgia from 2014 to 2017. Let's talk about some pros with this selection. Here's a guy who can make an entire defense better by eating up blockers and freeing up teammates to make plays. Georgia's defense ranks second, first, and second in the nation in run defense the last 3 years, and Jordan Davis was a major reason why. The Eagles find themselves with Fletcher Cox on a one-year deal, meaning there is possibility that the longtime defensive lineman could be on his way out sooner than later. Needing a viable option to replace him, the Eagles can plug in Jordan Davis and line him up in various ways. Defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon could line this guy up as the nose tackle in a 3-4, letting Jordan Davis use his size and strength to line up over the center and force two offensive linemen to block him. Davis can also play the traditional 5 technique in a 4-3, lining up next to Cox or Javon Hargrave and opening up more rush opportunities for Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham. Here are some cons. The one concern about Jordan Davis is that Georgia used him in only 15.5% of his third downs last season. The presence of Jalen Carter, a sophomore who's likely going to be a top 10 pick in next year's draft, was a big reason why, as it allowed Georgia to rest Jordan Davis. The other con of this draft is who was available at the time of the selection. Overall, I give Jordan Davis a B-. I had a top 20 grade on Jordan Davis. The idea that you almost had Kyle Hamilton in Midnight Green absolutely knocks this grade down just a little bit. This is not a knock at all on Jordan Davis, who I think will have a major impact with the Eagles next season. Let's move on to, I think, what shocked all Eagles fans, and that is the A.J. Brown trade. The Eagles previously had interest in acquiring the following players, but successfully landed none of them: Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods. Now they finally got their guy. A.J. Brown is an ideal fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. A.J. Brown has averaged 62 catches a year since coming to the NFL, so he's not a high-volume wide receiver. Most star receivers you expect to catch 100 passes. This isn't it. A.J. Brown played for a team that ran the ball a lot, so he had to impact the game without a ton of touches. A.J. Brown has 24 touchdown catches in the past 3 years and has averaged 16 yards per reception. Brown should open things up for the offense in multiple ways. If the Eagles want to throw the ball, it spreads out the defense more, making it tougher to double team just one receiver. Smith, Brown, and Dallas Goedert could see more one-on-one coverages, thus resulting in more catches next season. And in the run game, A.J. Brown would likely keep the safeties back, opening up more space for running lanes and stretching the defense between the second and third levels. The Eagles' offensive line did a good job last year getting to the second level in their zone running schemes, which means the leading rushing attack in the league last year has now more space to operate. A.J. Brown is also versatile, and he's a playmaker who makes the Eagles better. According to Pro Football Focus, he lined up in the slot on 34% of his snaps last year. His presence alone will allow Devontae Smith to be deployed primarily out wide, where he played 87% of his snaps last year. And then we get to Jalen Hurts. There are no more excuses in evaluating Jalen Hurts. By trading for A.J. Brown, the Eagles have everything a young quarterback could ever want. As the Eagles decide whether or not Jalen Hurts is their quarterback of the future, there shouldn't be anything missing to make the former Alabama and Oklahoma star's life easier. If Jalen Hurts excels, the Eagles have their man. If not, now they know. And that is a huge plus. And then we get to cons, and I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. This trade was an absolute home run. They also were able to keep a couple day 2 picks. A+ for the Philadelphia Eagles. Well done, Howie. Let's move on to day 2. With the 51st selection in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Cam Jurgens, a center prospect, and has shocked a lot of people. Let's talk about some pros. This is an elite athlete for the position. He was a former 4-star tight end recruit, the top overall recruit for Nebraska, and a top 10 tight end nationally. He was a multi-sport and multi-position star in high school, starting at linebacker in addition to tight end, and even punted as a junior. He also played basketball, averaging 12.5 points and 3.5 rebounds per game as a junior. And he was a 4-time state champion in the discus and a 3-time state champion in the shot put. He's got a really solid combination of speed, quickness, and agility to open holes in the running game and keep quarterbacks clean in pass protection. He's explosive off the ball as a run blocker, and he has enough strength at the position to seal off running lanes. When you watch the tape, Jurgens' agility and speed are really impressive. He's quick to get to the second level to occupy linebackers or pull outside to take on defenders in space. While I think he's a bit of a project and he's going to have to continue to learn the nuances of the NFL, I definitely think there is a path for Jurgens to eventually develop into an all-pro center. And the fact that Jason Kelce recruited this kid and is welcoming Jurgens with open arms, that is a great sign for things to come. And then we get to cons. Nothing against Cam Jurgens, but it feels like a misuse of resources here in the second round. From left to right, the Eagles already had one of the best offensive lines in football. Jordan Mailata, Isaac Seumalo, Jason Kelce in the middle, guard Landon Dickerson, and tackle Lane Johnson on the right. A second round pick on a center who is unlikely to play in 2022 is not exactly the best use of resources. It is certainly possible that Jurgens could play guard if the situation calls for it next year, but the fact is, he doesn't have any guard experience at all. Jurgens' path to playing time may only come via a Jason Kelce injury. It's important to note that Jason Kelce, though, has started in 122 straight games, which is the second best in the NFL among active players. If Jurgens can play guard immediately next year, potentially even replacing Seumalo in the lineup down the road, then it's all gravy. But there are certainly question marks. I give this selection a C+. Let's move on to the best news of day 2. In the third round, myself and my friends were doing backflips. The Eagles finally did it. The Eagles selected linebacker Nakobe Dean out of Georgia. Dean was chosen SEC Defensive Player of the Year by Pro Football Focus. He finished with 72 total tackles and led Georgia in tackles for loss with 10.5, and he was second in sacks with 6. Nakobe Dean also had 31 quarterback hurries and 6 pass breakups and was second on one of the best college defenses of all time with 2 interceptions. Let's get into some pros. Nakobe Dean was the definition of a traditional linebacker on Georgia's defense last year, taking 582 snaps in the box for the national champs. His pressure to the quarterback is excellent, generating 31 of them, which ranks 6th best among linebackers in the nation last year. He truly is that extra blitzer that we need in Jonathan Gannon's defense. He's quick, strong, aggressive, he has a great motor, he has good lateral movement, and he has shown an ability to cover running backs swinging out of the backfield, and he can fill and shoot the gaps. Nakobe Dean has elite spatial awareness and gets off blocks really well after the snap. Most importantly, he is a big-time leader who is highly intelligent and was the heart and soul of Georgia's defense. Nakobe Dean graduated high school with a 4.3 GPA and carried a 3.55 GPA in mechanical engineering at Georgia. Dean is widely described as a selfless and a culture changer on and off the field. Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis are about to become the true backbone of the Eagles defense for years to come. Now I'm here for it. Concerns about his height and speed might be valid, as well as some of those health concerns which caused him to drop here in that third round, but If the Eagles are going to take a chance on a linebacker, taking one who excelled at the highest level of football is super smart, and I absolutely love this pick. Let's go into some cons. I think Nakobe Dean projects best as a starting will linebacker in a 4-3 defense. Although he was mixed up at Mike at Georgia, his lack of size and length will hinder him up against NFL offensive linemen. But I'm not really worried about it. I think he has the range and cover skills to play on all 3 downs for the Philadelphia Eagles. He might be small, but his play on the field is the exact opposite. I give this selection an absolute A+ for the Philadelphia Eagles. That being said, let's move on to the next picks in the 6th round. In the 6th round, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Kyron Johnson out of Kansas. Kyron Johnson looks like he will be a strong side Sam linebacker in Jonathan Gannon's system, a position that Hassan Reddick will play this year. Johnson will likely be competing with last year's 7th round draft pick Patrick Johnson to be the team's backup at that spot. Kyron Johnson is quite simply used to playing anywhere on the field to help his football team. For example, he got snaps at safety, nickel, linebacker, and defensive end last year. Johnson had 63 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks with the Jayhawks last year. Despite being 6 foot tall and 235 pounds, Johnson is very athletic. At his Kansas Pro Day, he tested well in the 40-yard dash, clocking in at 4.36 and 4.39 in the 40. For reference purposes, the fastest linebacker at the combine ran a 4.42. Kyron Johnson also recorded a 39.5 vertical jump. This is a sideline-to-sideline run defender with great speed and stopping power. He has good burst and bend coming off the edge. He's undersized, but he has explosive power. Concerns include his lack of instincts, his need to improve his processing, and ability to read plays quickly between the tackles. His best shot to make the team is as a backup 4-3 Sam with above average special teams potential. The good news is that he has Hassan Reddick to learn the nuances of the NFL and catch up to the speed of the game. I give this selection a solid B. The last draft pick for the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2022 NFL Draft is SMU tight end Grant Calcaterra. In 2017, Calcaterra was the number 6 tight end in the country as a 4-star recruit and the number 25 overall player in California. He chose Oklahoma over Florida and Texas A&M. Calcaterra was developing into a promising tight end at Oklahoma before suffering a concussion in 2019 and retiring from football. That season, Jalen Hurts, now the Eagles quarterback, was the Sooners QB. They only played 3 games together, however, before Calcaterra was lost for the season with a head injury. After missing much of his junior season due to injury, Calcaterra announced his retirement from football in November of 2019. He returned home to Orange County, California, and pursued his passion for firefighting. Quick shout out to my man Danny Watkins. He also took EMT classes, began working with an ambulance company, and attended fire technology school at Santa Ana College. But after watching the 2020 NFL Draft from home, Calcaterra's desire to play football was reignited, and he announced his plans to return to college. He decided to attend SMU and became a captain for the Mustangs, compiling 38 receptions for 465 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. Calcaterra projects as an F tight end at the next level, which means he can play slot receiver, fullback, and maybe some wide receiver. He's also a very good pass blocker, not having a single blocking penalty last season. This is a receiving tight end with solid burst off the ball. He runs sharp routes and plants and drives back to the football on comebacks. He's also got good hands and enough speed to stretch a defense vertically. Overall, I give this selection a solid B+. Let's look at the overall grades. Alright, so here we go. Jordan Davis, B-, AJ Brown, A+, Cam Jurgens, C+, Nakobe Dean, A+, Kyron Johnson, B, and Grant Calcaterra, B+. By far, the highlight of the Eagles draft is the addition of AJ Brown. The fact that we have an AJ Brown and Devontae Smith duo for the foreseeable future just takes this draft over the top. I would be lying to you if I didn't say it already, but the fact that you took Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton stings just a little bit. However, I think Jordan Davis will definitely have his presence felt sooner than later. And then you look at that Nakobe Dean addition in the 3rd round, one of the steals of the draft. The Eagles finally have a quarterback of the defense patrolling at linebacker. Such a good selection. Kyron Johnson, Grant Calcaterra, solid additions as well. I give this overall grade an A- for the Eagles. They added major pieces that will greatly benefit the 2022 season. And most importantly, the Eagles can finally move forward with Jalen Hurts and find out whether or not he is the guy to move forward with. Jalen Hurts has all the pieces a young quarterback could ever dream about, and I cannot wait for this 2022 season. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Do you like the draft? Did you dislike the draft? Let me know in that comment section below. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome.